Hey guys, what's up? I finally finished Ys VIII Monstrum Nox on the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, the choppy version, but we'll get to that later. And I'm so excited to tell you all about it. I'm gonna cover why I love this game, my thoughts on this game, my experience with this game, and how does this compare to Ys VIII Lacrimosa of Dana, the predecessor. It's gonna be awesome, so let's begin. A copy of this game was sent to me by one of my supporters at patreon.com. Thanks, Matthew, I really appreciate this. Right, the first thing you need to know, and you've probably noticed out of my excitement, I absolutely love this game, and it's a masterpiece. It's just as good as Lacrimosa of Dana. Previously, everybody was saying, well, not everybody, well, a lot of people were saying that it doesn't hold up, that it's not as good, that it's inferior, blah, blah, blah. I played it, I finished it, and it blew me away. I love this game, man. So obviously, I strongly recommend it. I think the gameplay, the controls, the characters, the story, the graphics even though it's the same graphic engine as Lacrimosa of Dana, it's just superb. I loved everything about this game. Really good. But the Switch version, we need to address some issues with the Switch version. Yes, it's true, it has the exact same problems Ys VIII have also on the Switch. It has a bunch of frame rate issues, which means sometimes when you move the camera, if not all the time when you move the camera, only if you pay close attention, you can slightly see how it lags a little bit, how it struggles a little bit to focus. And sometimes every now and then you will see some pixelated areas with some characters doing some scenes. And there's also a few, I encountered personally a few glitches, a couple of glitches. Sometimes when battles are so chaotic and there's a lot going on, it's like the control can't handle it, so it might start drifting a little bit, but it goes back to normal like in seconds, so it's not that big of an issue. So all of these issues that I just talked about, they weren't a big deal for me, so I strongly recommend you get the PS4 version, but that's nowadays a little bit rare and more expensive usually. So I recommend the Switch version if you don't mind those issues. It still plays well, the gameplay, the controls, everything is just fine. It's just the PS4 version performs better overall. But honestly, you can't go wrong with this version. Now, how does this compare to Ys VIII Lacrimosa of Dana? Alright, you guys know I'm a huge fan of that game, Lacrimosa. Before this one, it was my favorite Ys. When I did the ranking video last year, it was my first place. Masterpiece, I love that freaking game. But in my opinion, Monstrum Nox does not stay behind at all. It's just as good. Let's start with the gameplay. In terms of gameplay, I think they're pretty much very similar. In both games you end up in an unknown place full of intrigues and mysteries. And you gotta, navigate through and explore the area. In Ys VIII, you gotta explore the island, and on Ys IX, you gotta explore the city and the prison. You also have a base, some sort of base where you can recruit characters and people with shops and different characteristics and features. So the controls are the same. It's still an action RPG. You can use 3 characters and switch to any of these characters at any given time. So, in terms of gameplay, it's pretty much the same. I mean, obviously it's a different game, different setting, different story, but it plays pretty much exactly the same. Now, in terms of controls and battle mechanics, I'd like to say that it's just as good. I think this one is slightly better. It's only my opinion based on my experience. The last time I played Ys VIII was almost 3 years ago. But I remember that the action in Ys VIII was fast-paced, not as fast, but fast nonetheless. Here, however, I felt it to be slightly faster with slightly better control. The difference isn't that much, but I felt this one to have better battle mechanics, but that's just in my opinion, and I don't think it's that superior in terms of that to Lacrimosa of Dana. The graphics are pretty much the same in both games. They use the exact same graphic engine. I think it's called the Fire Engine with PH Fire Engine. And well, it looks the same. Obviously this looks slightly better. I'm pretty sure the PS4 version looks better. The Switch version is graphically inferior to the PlayStation 4. version, I'm pretty sure. But overall, it's the same graphics. You know, it looks equally amazing as it did on Ys VIII, so the graphics are still pretty much great. I think the story is just as great as well. I can't make up my mind which story I like the most. I think that the first one hooks you up almost from the start, and this one takes a while. It's a little bit slow at the beginning because it's totally different. You don't know what's going on. You're in this city and then you get arrested and thrown into jail and blah blah blah, and it's like, what's going on? This doesn't really feel like an Ys game, but then it starts hooking you up, starts getting better, and eventually you're like, wow. And both games have really emotional moments. I think Lacrimosa had more emotional moments, but this one has more darker moments. Both games also have those plot twists. There's a major plot twist in both games near the end of the game. This one, the plot twist on Ys IX was, wow, it blew me away. I can't decide which one is better. All you need to know is that both games have equally amazing and very well written stories. Now, in terms of characters, I think I'm gonna go with this one. Here's why. The first game had an amazing cast of characters, but I didn't really love most of them. I absolutely love Dana, and the fact that you could play with Dana, that was awesome, to be honest. And Dana is a great character, and Adol is just Adol. He's just the same great character in both games. I think he's more interesting in this game, but I don't want to spoil anything, so play the game and you'll see why I think the Adol in this game is better. That's just me. The rest of the characters in Lacrimosa of Dana were like, Laxia she was pretty hot, but she was an interesting character, but overall she's a little bit of a tsundere. And the rest of the cast was okay. I didn't really love the cast, but I was like, okay, I like these characters and that's it. In Monstrum Nox, however, I really enjoy the cast. Sure, there's a couple of characters like Yufa or Credo, which are heavily stereotyped, but then there's Doll, aka Anemona, which I think she's become my absolute favorite character in the entire Ys series, and I've played them all, man. I love Doll so much. She quickly became my favorite character, and playing as her, the way she fights, oh my god, it's beautiful, it's awesome. It feels great to beat the crap out of everything and everyone with Doll. Another character that I really loved is Aprilis. She's like the leader of the Monstrum, the characters here, the little group of anti-heroes, and I really like that character. More on her later. But yeah, overall, I think I prefer the cast in this game, not by a landslide. You know, it's not wow completely superior to the cast in Ys VIII, but I like it more. And last but not least, the music. The music is heavily important in these games. You know that, badass soundtracks in every single one of them. Now, I love the soundtrack in this game, some pretty cool songs, the town theme, the city theme, you know, it grows on you. It's a little bit mad at the beginning, but it grows a lot on you, and then near the end of the game it changes. I love the soundtrack in this game, don't take me wrong, but I think Ys VIII has the better soundtrack. It has some really memorable songs. You know which ones I'm referring to, probably. And I just think it has better music, but the difference isn't that much. Both games still have an amazing soundtrack. Overall, I don't think I can decide which is the better game. I'm an Ys fanboy, and if I had to do that same video I did last year, Ys ranked from worst to best, I will have a lot of trouble deciding which one will be number one. I love these games equally. If I had to choose right now at a gunpoint, you know, I will choose Ys IX, but that's because I just finished it and I absolutely loved it. As you can tell right now, I love this game. But the truth is that I just can't decide. I think both games are masterpieces. So there's one last thing I want to say, you know, a couple of complaints I have, but these complaints involve spoilers, not heavy story spoilers, but spoilers nonetheless. So if you haven't finished this game, and if you don't want to get spoiled, consider yourself warned. One thing that disappointed me about this game was Aprilis. You know, I love that character so goddamn much that the entire game I was waiting for her to join the party. I knew she was that kind of character that joins late in the game because they make you want her. Like, oh man, she's so badass, she's so cool, she's so interesting. Once you learn who she really is and her past, you're like, come on, she has to join, right? She never does, man. In the final dungeon and in the final boss, she's right there with the party, and she's not playable. She's not even an NPC, you know, playing, you know, fighting by herself without your control. No, she never fucking joints, and that disappointed the heck out of me because I really loved Aprilis so much. And one last thing that disappointed me was, I think a lot of people will agree with this, is that Ys VIII had different endings. I think it had like 3 different endings, and this one, no matter what you do, it's still the same ending no matter what. It was disappointing a little bit because Doll Anemona was my favorite character, and she doesn't get a scene at the end. If you get her affinity to max, you get a scene with her and Aprilis and Adol, but once you beat the final boss and you're at the very end of the game, at the epilogue, you get no scene. All you get is a message saying, hey, thanks for everything, Adol. Come on, my favorite character doesn't get to say goodbye? That was disappointing. So that's it, guys, that's it. Overall, it's an amazing game. Despite these nitpicks that I have with the game, they're very personal. It doesn't affect my judgment of this game. It's an amazing masterpiece. Play it if you can. Even if it's the Switch version, you won't regret it. Masterpiece, strongly recommended. And I think you should know that this game is easier than Lacrimosa of Dana. I beat this game on normal mode. Oh yeah. Can you believe that? Me, an action RPG on normal mode, I beat it on normal mode, which means it's easier than Lacrimosa of Dana. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!